All right. Well, I wanted to thank everybody for taking time out of your day. We have a lot of things happening right now with our sophomores and juniors, and with this current situation going on, there's all kinds of questions. And so we'd like to be able to help our folks in Hilliard work through all of these questions. We have 4 colleges here today. Each of them are going to get a chance to tell you who they are. We have 3 students, 1 from each high school, that are going to tell you who they are as well. This is only going to last about 30 minutes or so, but we're going to ask a lot of questions, and each of these schools are going to give us their answers as of right now of what they might be. So we will go ahead and start. Ray?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Rayanne DiBaggio. I'm the Senior Associate Director of Undergraduate Admission at Case Western Reserve University.
Hi, everybody. My name is Teresa Poplar, and I'm an Assistant Director in the Office of Admission and Financial Aid at the University of Dayton, and I serve the Columbus area.
Hi, everybody. Tyler Bradshaw, Associate Director of Recruitment at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, and I also recruit primarily in the greater Columbus area.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas Giles, serving as the Assistant Director in Outreach and Recruitment at The Ohio State University. I also serve students in the Hilliard District in Central Ohio.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie Hessick. I attend Hilliard Darby High School, and inside of school, I'm involved in student government where I serve as class president. And outside of school, I enjoy volunteering at our hospital in Dublin, and I also play soccer both inside and outside of school.
Hi, my name is Gabe. I'm a junior at Hilliard Bradley. I play cross country, track. I play the saxophone in our band as well as our jazz band. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Danish Bajwa. I'm a student at Hilliard-Davidson High School. I'm currently a junior. I'm involved in a couple of clubs, but currently my favorite is Key Club.
All right, that is great. So let's go ahead and get started. So what we're all going through right now is extremely different. I know no one on this panel planned for what we're doing right now. And I know that everybody's been working hard to try to make things as smooth as we can based on the situation that we are in. So my first question is, how do you best tell students to tour a campus when they physically can't go there? And how do they get answers to their questions about your school? Right?
So at Case Western Reserve University, we are offering a variety of virtual opportunities for students. We have a virtual tour that is posted on our website. Students can take that anytime they'd like. We're offering a variety of information sessions. So we're doing those, and we're right now offering those 5 days a week. We also are offering rising seniors the opportunity to do a one-on-one virtual interview. So students can sign up where they can meet with an admission counselor, and we're happy to ask some questions, find out a little bit more about you. It's really an informational exchange. So we're just as excited to learn more about you as an individual student as you are given the opportunity to ask some specific questions that are important to you in your college search process and how that might fit into what we offer at Case Western Reserve. All of our admission counselors are posted on our website. So, I happen to be one of the counselors that works with students from the Columbus area. So you can reach out, find my contact information, send me an email, give me a phone call, and I'm happy to answer questions, provide information for students as well.
All right, hello again, everybody. Very similarly to Rayanne, at the University of Dayton, we're offering students a variety of options since at this point, We have canceled all of our campus visits and events that are on campus until early July. So my best advice to students at this point is just to stay as connected as you can with us. Check our website often for updates. Of course, you can email me anytime. I'm your counselor. I'm the one reviewing your application. I'll be visiting your school this fall, hopefully. So I'd love to connect with you as well. So just stay tuned. But in the interim, again, very similarly, we're doing all sorts of virtual options. You can do a virtual tour online. You can connect with me on a one-on-one appointment or another counselor as well. So we're doing virtual appointments, virtual interviews. And then we also have the presentation that you would see if you came to campus recorded by one of our counselors. So there's always that option as well.
Yeah, so at Miami University, the website miamioh.edu/visit is really kind of the hub of all the virtual visit activities that we're offering right now to students. The big thing to remember is that things may shift here over the next couple months. We're recording this in the middle of May, and at Miami, we extended our confirmation deadline to June 1st. So we are still wrapping things up with our high school seniors that are going to be starting in the fall, and then also starting to work with juniors and sophomore students, especially the juniors who are going to be applying next year. So you might see some of these things change in the coming months. But right now we're hosting virtual information sessions, and those are live sessions. So you see the same presentation that you would see had you come to campus. And then we do a live question and answer session with those as well. And we have a great campus tour video that plays while that's going. So you really do get a good feel for what it's like to be on campus. But we're hosting lots of other events that we'll make students aware of throughout the summer. Obviously, you can always connect with your admission counselor at Miami, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. You can either call or email, whatever works best. But that miamioh.edu/visit website is really kind of the first place that you'll want to go to check out what opportunities are available. And it's pretty wide ranging beyond just the standard campus tour. We have tours of particular academic facilities and labs on campus that are led by our faculty members. There are 360-degree tours of our residence halls and some of the living options that you have on campus. So lots of great resources there. So really in the meantime, that is kind of the spot to go. As my colleague from Dayton said, our campus visits at Miami are actually going to be canceled through July as of right now. And we hope to be back to our normal operations in the fall, but we'll continue to monitor the situation.
Hello again. Yes, we also have all of our campus events canceled through July. You can visit us virtually through campusvisits.osu.edu, where you will see two things. You will see the virtual visit that you can experience. There will also be the presentation that you would have seen had the opportunity to visit campus will be online, as well as a virtual tour through the prospective freshman opportunity. So through July, visits are canceled. You can also still contact the university at Ask a Buckeye at osu.edu, and we'll still reach out to you. You can give us a call. So in terms of the virtual visit, you can do that. You can still call us. We are still working, as you can see, and you can send us an email, and we will all be ready to help you.
That is great. So last week, the state leaders in Ohio, they had said that there's going to be a lot of budget cuts. And I know that there's been quite a few cuts for this year. We don't know about next year yet, and we won't know about that until the end of June, when the state budget has to be signed. But if you look at what cuts have happened already and the impact on your campus, what kind of impact is this going to have on these current juniors? Right.
Well, I think it's really kind of early in the process to know what those are going to specifically look like, because there's a lot of conversations that are happening on our campuses. I think we're also trying to look at other resources that we have individually in our campus communities that we can try to, enhance and supplement some of the budget cuts. So I think it's one of those where it's another one of those kind of stay tuned, and we will try to be as transparent and communicate that information as best we can as we learn more and as we get deeper into this process. But Tom, if I could back up for just 1 second to the other question, and just kind of on a broader perspective, I think the important thing is for students to be in contact with schools that they are interested in learning more about. Because as Tyler said, this is very early. It's the middle of May. Things are changing rapidly. You know, what we say today may be different tomorrow or maybe different in a few weeks. And so I think the important thing is that, you know, if students get connected with the schools that they're interested in exploring, we will be communicating. So as we come back online for physical campus visits, or if we are adding more virtual kinds of opportunities or more specific targeted topic discussions or more types of things, all of that's going to be sent out to students in emails. So as we learn more about what, you know, the impact of these budget cuts to the state are and how that might be affecting our communities, you know, we will be transparent in that messaging as well.
Ditto. but really on top of it too, and I think that's really good advice, is just to know the right person to connect, and the context and the type of question that you're wondering about or looking for more information on should dictate that search. So she, you know, Rhian kind of came at it from more of an admission lens, and I think, yeah, the resounding answer there is going to be it's a little too early to tell. But my brain always focuses more on the financial aid side of things. So I think that might be helpful for you guys, is just to kind of walk through how that process might work at this juncture. And I'll try to keep it very light and easy to remember, but find the right contact in each school that you're working with and their financial aid office. So sometimes that's in conjunction with the Office of Admission, and sometimes that exists very separately. So just knowing who to contact, I think, is step one. Step two is to remember to fill out the FAFSA. So that's the free application for federal student aid that will become available for current juniors October 1st of your senior year. So you guys will be doing the 21-22 FAFSA. Your family will fill that out using 2019 tax information. So once you submit that early in the fall, each school will use that information, possibly in conjunction with other information you provide, like the CSS profile. So double check with each school, but they will work to prepare a financial aid award for you. And that usually comes out, depending on the school, in maybe late winter or early spring. Once you have that, and this is kind of my last and final tip, is to remember to work with each school to see if there's something else that might exist to get you more aid. So many schools out there are going to have what's called professional judgment. We all do. And we can utilize that and look at a special circumstances appeal if your family decides to fill that out. So right now, universities across the board are well aware that COVID-19 is impacting a lot of families' financial situations. So special circumstance appeals might come into play for a lot of you guys out there. So just know that that process exists and that we can revisit your financial aid through that process. So if you're experiencing economic strain, divorce, loss of income, loss of wages, furloughs, universities can consider that and hopefully award you more aid.
Yeah, I think just as Teresa has alluded to, if you think about this in your own lives right now, everybody's economic situation is very fluid. It's hard to predict. It's hard to forecast into the future and what might or might not happen. And to a certain extent, just at a larger scale, colleges and universities are dealing with those same struggles that individual families are. At Miami, just for some context, the one thing I'm really proud of, and I'm a Miami alum, I'm always, proud of my institution, but Miami made the decision early on that for this current group of students, we were going to refund any of their room and board, a lot of their meal plans, their unused fees like athletic fees or recreation center fees. And that was the right thing to do. It was also an expensive thing to do. It cost Miami about $27 million to refund all of those fees. But I think one thing that responded to this situation, and it will clearly clarify their values. A student-centered institution, really, in my opinion, is always doing the right thing in the interest of students. And I think that moving forward for these future classes, I think you have to remember that, I mean, I can only speak to Miami, but we are really trying to do what's in the best interest of students in everything that we do. So, when it comes to making tough budgetary decisions, the well-being and the safety of our students is always going to be the top priority. And although I don't have definitive answers on how it will impact, I can assure you that the student experience is the thing that we focus on first and foremost, and it will really be a last resort to touch any of those things from a budgetary perspective.
To echo my colleague Tyler there, the university is doing a phenomenal job in having meetings right now to uncover first the safety of the students and then the safety of the Ohio State community. So in terms of budgets right now, it is too early to quite put a definitive answer behind something. Please know that our leadership, so think of it this way, the undergraduate admissions office, we don't make decisions without bringing in the Ohio State community as a whole. So I don't want you to think that this is what undergraduate admissions is saying today, and then the university says something completely different tomorrow. Our leadership is meeting in conjunction with the university's leadership to make sure that the safety of the students is first, and then the safety of the community, the Ohio State community is second, on top of how can we make sure that everyone is taken care of moving forward.
All right, Kinsey?
I just had a question about like the application process for this coming year. So for essays, obviously, I think something that a lot of students might think of writing about is the current situation, and that might get very boring and monotonous to read. So I was wondering if you guys had any advice or tips on what type of essays you guys like to read.
So I think there will be a lot that students will want to write about, because this has been an experience like no other that, your, especially the juniors right now that'll be rising seniors, have experienced. And so I think regardless of what topic a student chooses to write about, it should be something that you feel very passionately about, that you can write genuinely about, something that helps us learn a little bit more about you that we are likely not to learn from other parts of your application. So if it touches upon something that that you've already shared with us, but then goes into much greater detail, or really kind of shares your passion or your drive for that, and helps us learn a little bit more about you, who you are as a person, how you engage with your community, with others, that's kind of what an essay should do, is help shed more light on the applicant that we don't necessarily learn from other parts of a student's application.
I love all of those tips. Those were really good. I might add to that, and this is just a little challenge that I would give to all of you, is to find, when you're considering the topic of your essay, find 10 friends, ask them what they're writing about, and then write about something completely different. So be unique. We read a lot of sometimes the same things over and over again, so it's nice to have that fresh perspective. My second tip, and this is just because I am a 2-time degree in communication, is to edit, and then edit again. So proofread and get as many people's eyes on that essay as you possibly can. And third, again, and this is really just to piggyback off Rayanne, is just to be authentic. Use really good examples that help bring the main points of your essay to life, because those examples are really where we're going to see your most authentic
And Teresa, there's a quote from a writer, and I don't remember who it is, but it's this idea of writing as speaking into the silence. And I think that the essay really has to serve that function, right? Whatever the silence is in both your application and in the larger applicant pool, that's what that essay should be. And Kenzie, I think you read all of our minds when you said we have this inherent fear that every essay we read is going to be about the coronavirus pandemic. There's no doubt this is impacting students in really profound ways, but at the same time, you have to understand how it plays in the rest of the applicant pool. And I've always cautioned students against picking that common denominator essay, right? The thing that anybody could write about that doesn't necessarily differentiate you from the rest of the pack. The recommendation I always give students when I do essay workshops and things of that nature is you really have two paths that you can go when you write an essay. The first is to pick a really creative, unique, one-of-a-kind story, and you write a good essay around it. The other path is if you pick a more common topic, you have to be Hemingway. You have to write in a way that is like so creative, so different that your writing style is what makes the essay stand out. So I think my cautionary tale to students would be, if you go down the route of writing an essay about that common topic, possibly the COVID-19 pandemic, you have to write in a way where your voice shows through, where that story is entirely you, where it can't be anybody else's. You couldn't just change the name on it and give it to somebody else and it's the same thing. So I think it's probably easier to go that route of maybe picking another topic that's just going to automatically differentiate you. But it's something to consider as you write, for sure.
I will bring it home for us, my colleagues here, in saying that my biggest piece of advice is, don't write an essay that you think we want to hear. Pick something that is authentic and that resonates to you, regardless of what you think we want to hear. Write it in authentic as you can. Now, that's my first piece of advice. The second piece of advice is, as you're writing that, think about how it is impacting you. Again, not impacting the university. So if COVID-19 has impacted you, yes, my colleagues and I are going to read every single word that you write about COVID-19, and that's okay. Just
Hey, Thomas, I think that we lost you. All right. We can move forward to Gabe.
Okay, so one question that I had was, with AP tests being in this new online format, do any of you foresee any changes to how you accept them, or what like scores are required to get credit or anything?
Sure. So I think that's a great question that I'm sure many of your classmates are also wondering about. For Case Western Reserve University, we are going to treat them exactly the same. They are administered by the College Board, and we are using them in the exact same way that, you know, we've looked at the other AP exams. Our general policy has always been students need to score a 4 or a 5 for some college credit consideration. We have a complete list of all of the AP tests that are offered by the College Board and what those corresponding scores are. And then we also take it a step further to let students know how many credits we'll give and which classes we will give that to. And that's on our undergraduate admission website. But we are looking at them exactly in the same fashion.
That's very similar to the University of Dayton. We'll continue to look at those in the same light. We also have a full list of the scores that are needed and what you can get credit for on our website. But my best advice there is to keep checking that document. We've had some big changes at UD over the last year with that list, and I imagine it will continue to evolve. So you can keep checking there, or just check in with me and I'm happy to refer you to the right document.
Hey, Gabe, it's a good question, and I can help to answer since we may have lost Thomas on the call, from a public institution perspective, in that when it comes to AP test, public institutions in Ohio really have to take their direction from the Ohio Department of Education and what they recommend. And the Ohio Department of Education has said that public institutions, for the most part, couple tiny exceptions, must award credit for any score that is a 3 or higher. And then if you get into the 4s and 5s, you might be earning credit for multiple courses. I do know that all public institutions in Ohio, including Miami and Ohio State, have made the decision that there'll be no changes to our credit awarding policy in regards to AP scores. So those scores that you see listed on our website at miamioh.edu/admission, those scores would be valid this year, just like they have any previous years, because ultimately, if the folks at the College Board and AP say that they're comfortable with the validity of their tests, then they're the experts, and we're going to rely on their expertise there. So good news for students.
Okay, Danish, you're up, and we'll start with OSU, and we can work backwards.
All right, so I just wanted to ask if you guys would be adding anything to the application process because of coronavirus, or assuming you're test optional because the SAT and ACT aren't required anymore. Would there be anything to kind of replace that?
That's a good question. Right now at Ohio State, we have not made any adjustments to our application in terms of impacts from COVID-19. So you'll still have to submit the application, your high school transcripts and test scores will all be a required component. We are not moving to, currently at this moment, we are not moving to anything with test optional right now. So we will move forward with the application as normal for us.
And at Miami University, in the same respect, we have not made the decision to go test optional or not, but we are exploring whether or not that's going to be a policy moving forward. I think the big change for schools, if they would decide to embrace a test optional policy, it's probably not going to be adding anything to their application, but it's going to be looking at the pieces that already exist within the application and relying on those in a little bit more detail. So if we don't have a test score to look at, we might be doing some extra reliance on what's on your transcript, what comes from your counselor recommendation, your activities list, all of those things. We've all talked, a couple of us have been on panels at other institutions as well. We've talked about this idea that we're also going to be evaluating your application within the context of what's going on right now. So it's not like we are going to be expecting the same level of in-school activity maybe during your junior or senior year if those things aren't happening like they regularly have. So understand that this process is a lot more nuanced and complex than it looks on the surface. We're going to have a lot of context when we evaluate your application, and we're always trying to make decisions that give the students the benefit of the doubt. And I think especially during times like this where things really are just kind of unpredictable, if schools decide to go test optional, they're just going to look at other places in the application to get an idea of whether or not you're going to be a good fit at their institution.
So far, nothing officially has changed at the University of Dayton, although we are, just like Miami, exploring going test optional for this fall. So I would echo everything Tyler just said and just add to it that while a lot of schools are strictly test optional, if you apply into certain majors, you might be required to still submit test scores. So at the University of Dayton, I would highly doubt it if we went test optional for majors such as engineering, the health sciences, and our nursing program as well.
So at Case Western Reserve University, we did make the decision to go test optional for this coming class of the fall of 2021. So for us, we don't anticipate adding any additional requirements into our application, but as Tyler mentioned, we've always done a holistic review, but we will be paying close attention to the preparation that we see on a student's transcript and what we learn about them from the counselor recommendation letters and the teacher recommendation letters. And so helping us get a sense of what type of a student is applying, how they're performing in the classroom, what they will add to the living and the learning community at the university.
Thanks.
And then I had another question that kind of piggybacks off that. It's more about the application deadline. If I know you guys might not have made the decision yet, but if you guys could foresee that getting changed a little bit depending on if SAT and ACTs continue to get canceled.
That's a really good question. That right now we will maintain our current early action deadline of November 1st, and then our regular decision deadline of February 1st. Both of those will stay for the current junior class.
Yeah, Miami's not made any adjustment to the deadlines. I will say if this year has showed there's a precedent to changing deadlines if it serves the students' best interest. So with this current class of students, the students who are going to be starting in the fall, we did extend their confirmation deadline from May 1st to June 1st, just to give them time to cope with everything going on, but then make the best decision for them. So it shows that schools like Miami are willing to be flexible with deadlines if we have to. But at this point in the process, no change to the deadlines. I'm hoping things will be at a point where they're much more stable in the fall, and we have a better idea of what's happening, and we don't have to change those deadlines, but we'll have to play it by ear. The one thing I will say, just as I wrap up quickly, is that for scholarships that Miami has historically relied on both your GPA and your test score for, we do allow students to revise their test score through February 1st for scholarship consideration. So we've always given a little bit of flexibility even after the admission deadline to increase your scholarship offer at Miami. And I don't envision any changes to that policy either.
Same at UD. So as of right now, we have not formally extended our application deadlines. Our early action deadline is November 1st. But as always, we'll continue to work with students on a case-by-case basis. So if you're ever worried about getting something in or maybe applying a little late, just reach out and we're happy to walk you through that.
And at Case Western Reserve University, we have not, at this point in time, made any changes to our deadlines either. We are a common application and coalition school, so those deadlines are, the dates will be August 1st that those applications will go live. Our early action and early decision rounds is November 1st, and then we have an ED2 and a regular decision deadline of January 15th. So like my colleagues, we are constantly monitoring what's happening, working in the best interest of students. So if there is a need to make some changes, we would certainly communicate that. But at this point in time, we're moving forward with those deadlines.
Okay, so I have another question, and this is a bit less about the pandemic and the situation. It's just more general about your institution. So I was wondering, like, what kind of opportunities do you have for students, whether it be co-ops, internship, research, like how accessible are they for the students?
Yeah, so at Ohio State, we like to say we have a plethora of both internships and co-opportunities available. Within internships, even though not every major requires them, for example, our nationally ranked Fisher College of Business doesn't require it. At the same time, more than 98% of those students will have at least one internship before they graduate. So those students understand the impact of having that hands-on experience while in college will support them in building up their resume post undergraduate experience. In terms of co-ops, the one thing I like to compare the difference is that a co-op at Ohio State, many of them are paid, whereas the internships, many of them are not. So keep it in mind in terms of that opportunity available to you. Most of our students think about co-ops within the College of Engineering, but there are also other co-ops outside of that program as well.
Yeah, and at Miami, nearly 100% of our students are going to do some type of internship, field experience, clinical, something during their time with us. And we have nearly 100% of our students that are participating in those types of things. And we have about 6,000 organizations, companies across the globe and in Ohio that recruit Miami students on a yearly basis. And it's actually working with our students in some pretty hands-on, meaningful ways. Just a couple examples. Lockheed Martin actually established the Lockheed Martin Leadership Institute on our campus, where they work with engineering students to develop the soft skills they need to be successful in that industry. And we send students to some pretty innovative programs all throughout the country. Actually, before the pandemic, we sent a group of our nursing and healthcare students to the Disney Institute in Orlando, where they were learning about how they could adapt Disney's award-winning guest service model to healthcare settings, and a pretty timely thing considering what happened over the coming months. So we have lots of students really working with companies in those hands-on ways during their time with us. And in terms of research at Miami, I think that's where you're going to see the big differentiator from most schools our size. We are 90% undergraduate, and we really believe undergraduates should be driving the research agenda. So we have a first-year research experience. You can get started unfunded research from the day you set foot on our campus, and it's not just in the sciences, it's in every academic discipline you could possibly imagine. I actually just met with a student who's graduating this year that was doing research with the National Science Foundation on truck driver fatigue. So they were studying the truck driver fatigue mentalities and behaviors, which was terrifying the next time I got on the highway. But there are lots of ways that students are doing innovative research opportunities and things at Miami, and it's really accessible from your first day on.
So at the University of Dayton, experiential learning is a big hallmark of the Marianist Catholic education. So learn, lead, serve, and seeking to develop the entire person, mind, body, and soul, kind of goes hand in hand with providing our students those experiential learning opportunities. So we hope that through one of our many programs, many opportunities, no matter how you do it, getting involved in having that experience, getting that service, getting that professional experience, that clinical experience, that research experience, study abroad, whatever it is for you, we hope you take advantage. So we're very proud of the fact that last year, University of Dayton was rated in the top 20 nationally for best experiential learning and best internship opportunities. And we have a variety of offices and staff and colleagues on campus who are ready and willing to help you find that right opportunity. So beyond just professors emailing you opportunities on a weekly basis, we subscribe to what's called Handshake, which is a national service that many schools use. But this Handshake website is where we post all of our on-campus opportunities, but also employers from across the nation, from across the globe, will also post their internship, co-op experiences, and even jobs right out of college. So you have kind of built-in support, not only in your major and with your advisor, but also from a university level as well. And then with the help of our alumni in the Columbus area, we have some really great programs that are specific to Columbus, like our Civic State House Scholar program. So that would be a really great opportunity if you wanted to stay local. But you would definitely be encouraged to participate in some sort of experiential learning during your time at UD.
So like my colleagues, Case Western Reserve University also believes that experiential learning is a very important part of a student's educational experiences. And for us, it's also almost 100% of our students who will participate in some type of experiential opportunity. And many of our students will do more than one experience. So it could be a co-op, which is usually affiliated more with our science, engineering, business types of programs, internships, which is more with our liberal arts oriented programs. Our nurses are starting in their clinicals within the first couple of 3 weeks of their freshman year. In the nursing program, we have practicum experiences, we have study abroad. Case Western Reserve is a Tier 1 research school. So again, our undergraduates are involved in research as early as their first semester freshman year. We also have offices on campus with professional staff that are supporting our students in these opportunities. So helping make those connections with companies and organizations, with our alumni. We too subscribe to Handshake. So it's not just for our current students, but as an alumni of the university, you are free to continue to utilize any of those career opportunities and resources, the alumni network for life, as part of that. So being able to take what students learn in the classroom and to practically apply those in some kind of an experience or multiple experiences is also an important part of our learning environment, and we want our students to have those opportunities. So they're national and even international opportunities that we can make those connections for our students with.
So I think that we're starting to get to our point where we might need to stop. I do think that it's important that one of you had actually said it early on. That is, if you have questions, it's important to reach out to the colleges that you are thinking about. And it's important to understand that if you hear something from one college, that is not going to mean that college B is going to do the same thing. Right now, I think there is a thought out there that all schools are going to go test optional, that all schools are going to move their app dates. Well, that might not happen at all of our schools. And you guys actually showed that right here. And so it's important to reach out to the folks on campus. Do not reach out and ask and take as the word when you ask your friends, because they may not know. Okay, or if you ask an older sibling that might have gone through this 2 or 3 years ago, their situation is very different than your situation. So I think it's very important that if you have questions that you reach out to each of the schools that you are actually thinking about. Does anybody here have any kind of follow-up as of right now? That is awesome. So all of you use Common App, which is going to go live on August 1st. I have promised all of our students, like I have over the last 4 years, that we will have camps for them to help them through all of this, starting on probably August 4th. And so what that's going to look like, we don't know yet. In the past, we would have groups of 35 or 40. Right now, we can't actually do that. Hopefully, we will be able to meet in large groups or small groups. We will do something on Zoom if we have to, but we will make sure that all of our students are active in this process and they know exactly what they have to do so they can get through this on time. You 3 students, do you guys have anything to add?
No, not really, but thank you for answering our questions.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you 3 could be here. I liked how you've reached out to some of your peers as well, because a lot of your questions are the same as theirs. And we, as Hilliard City Schools, thank you for the friendships and partnerships we have with these 4 schools, as well as all of the others around. So if our students have questions, I can find them. You know, hopefully Ray Ann and I are in Hilton Head at the same time. We can catch up. We can go to lunch on Tuesdays like we usually do. And we can talk about Hilliard students. I sneak in some chats about them. But we will get through this. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I want to thank all of you and have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tom.